call could happen today. It'll be kick and rush, I should imagine. And it's going to be Williman, who's going to kick off for New Zealand. Mr. Murphy looking to signal time on. Williman to kick off for New Zealand and set the second test match, the 1965 series, in motion. Everybody ready. Kick right over the goal line. Wilson, the South African fullback, touches down, and the first drop out of the match. Out on the mark, New Zealand hooker, and Oxley to drop out. Kick into the southern touch. Laidlaw. Middle touch, South Africa. In touch, about 9 yards inside South Africa's half. And the southern touch. The breeze blowing from the south across to the north, straight across, won't favour either side. Taken by Hewson, Smith. In touch, midway between 25 and halfway. New Zealand territory, southern touch. Birtwistle, the thrower. Birtwistle marking Brainard. Out in the same position. Touch judge on the southern side, Mr. G. McMillan of the Otago Referees Association. Brainard, left wing three-quarter. Smith kicked away, up and away. Ryan Stan leads, Lane. Laidlaw on the blind side. Taken by Wilson, just outside his 25. Wilson finds touch. 10 yards outside his 25. New Zealand on attack. Still raining steadily. Pools of water on the ground. Untidy line-out play so far. The only clean take being by Hewson, South African, playing his first game for South Africa in a test match this afternoon. Rain out again. Hewson. McLeod. Right up to the goal line. Wilson walks it into touch. Out again, New Zealand hooker from the front of that line out. And Wilson in touch, 1 yard short of South Africa's goal line. Birtwistle the thrower. Dropped by Oxley. Over the goal line. 5 yard scrum. Mr. Murphy orders a 5 yard scrummage. New Zealand pressing. 4 minutes and no score. Laidlaw putting the ball in. Not hooked. Tense moment. 5 yards from the South Africa's line. Laidlaw. Burdick. Cross kick. Wilson behind his goal line. In touch. 5 yards from South Africa's line. North touch. Touch judge for South Africa. T.P. Benton. Smith the thrower. Conway, taken to the ground. Morton. Wilson, in the nick of time. 3 yards from South Africa's corner flag. 5 minutes, no score. Smith. Conway. New Zealand working Conway at the end of the line out, close to the South African line, but not straight. Gilly Smith, the South African captain. Not hooked again. Smith. Tackled by Laidlaw. Try, New Zealand. Laidlaw tackling Gilly Smith and Tremaine scoring for New Zealand. A repetition of the first test match. South Africa winning the loose head by the goal line. Hooked back. Gilly Smith tackled by Laidlaw. And ball loose, but Tremaine to score. 5 minutes gone. New Zealand 3, South Africa 0, and Williman taking the conversion. It's there. Tremaine a try. Williman a goal. New Zealand 5, South Africa 0. And Ray Bell is with us this afternoon, the former Otago, South Island and All Black wing three-quarter of 1951-52, and Ray Bell, New Zealand away to a good start.
Yes, away to an excellent start. That was a good, fine piece of anticipation then by Laidlaw.
Oxley kicks off. Colin Meads a fair catch. Hewson on the mark, wearing number 5. There's Colin Meads, number 6, kicks from his 25. Willerman drops it. 5 yards from his line. Reinhardt following through quickly. In touch and South Africa on attack. 5 yards inside New Zealand, 25. Reinhardt, the thrower. On the southern touch, marking bird whistle. Freer knocks it back, kicked ahead by Gray. Gray and McLeod again. And Ray Bell, McLeod doing good work in the front of that line.
Yes, they're doing very well there. The forwards are coming through nicely.
Nell knocking it clear. Conway coming through. 5 yards inside New Zealand's half. Nearly Smith, Oxley on the halfway mark. Beautiful kick by Oxley. Gaining 50 yards. Kick from halfway, in touch. Only 10 yards short of New Zealand's line. Smith on New Zealand's left wing. Wearing number 14 jersey. Ellis has that ball. Nell. Smith, Oxley on the 25. He's missed the corner flag. Ball goes dead. New Zealand drop out. 7 minutes gone. New Zealand 5, South Africa 0. Willerman, low kick. Behind Wilson on his 25. Beautiful kick in those conditions. Three yards, New Zealand side of halfway. Colin Meads, Laidlaw, taken by the Schumann. New Zealand 10 yards back. Difficult Ray Bell knocking the ball back to the halfback in these conditions.
Oh, I think that's suicide here today. Getting it that done.
Engelbrecht, Nearly Smith on the halfway mark. Oxley, Gainsford. Reinhardt flying. Willerman 10 yards from his line. In the nick of time. Beautifully placed kick by Oxley. And Reinhardt almost getting Willerman. Just got his kick in 10 yards from New Zealand's line. Rose Pavilion corner. Long throw by Brainerd. Nell. Conway. Oxley pushed off the ball. Leads. Wilson on the 10-yard mark, New Zealand. New Zealand's 10-yard mark. New Zealand 5, South Africa 0. A very useful lead in conditions such as these. Still a steady drizzle falling and a lot of surface water on the ground. Nearly Smith, Oxley, New Zealand's 25, Willerman. Big sprints up. Quick throw in. Didn't work. Engelbrecht throwing in. 2 yards outside New Zealand, 25. Engelbrecht. Hewson. Leads, ruled offside. .27 yards out. Oxley to have this shot at goal. 5 yards in from the touchline. 3 yards outside the 25. A difficult kick in fine conditions, Ray Bell.
Oh, yes, it would be. But, this would be a very good kick should he land it.
40,000 people tense. Just under the post, a great effort, Laidlaw. Morton. Wilson. Another fine kick by Wilson from his 10-yard mark. Laidlaw working Morton away. And it's kick and rush today. Red whistle for a throw. Smith, Oxley. 3 yards inside New Zealand's half. 12 minutes gone. And it's a day for the forwards today. Red whistle. Leeds, Colin Leeds. Laidlaw. 2 yards inside South Africa's half. And Wilson proving very steady indeed.
Yes, he is. He's been under pressure a couple of times and he's done it very well.
Kurt Whistle, Dupree, Smith, Oxley, Rowe, Engelbrett, Willen. Sides employing the tactical kick and employing it very effectively. 12 yards from New Zealand's line and Engelbrett the thrower. Tremaine. Murdoch. Consile tackling him. Neat kick by Murdoch under pressure. 3 yards inside New Zealand's half. Won't be long before these players, it's going to be difficult to tell which are the South Africans and which are the New Zealanders. Engelbrett, Pearson, Smith, Oxley, Gainsford. On New Zealand's 25, right in front of the posts. Smith, on the left. Rue drops the ball. Kurt Whistle. Kurt Whistle over the halfway mark. Wilson diving. Put away over the South African 25. Rue kicks, Tremaine slides to the ground, in touch. 5 yards inside South Africa 25, Southern touch. Laidlaw, 2 yards inside South Africa 25. For New Zealand, Wilson touches down. Oxley out on the mark. And in front, scrum at the centre of the 25. Great attacking chance this, and not much excuse when in international rugby when a player gets in front of a kick-off.
That's true.
Laidlaw then. Penalty South Africa. It's New Zealand's front row. Well, nearly Smith and Wilson. Kicking for the north touch, the terrace touch. Another splendid kick by Wilson, proving his experience in these dreadful conditions, especially for fullbacks. 2 yards inside New Zealand's half. Winneray. Exactly 15 minutes of the first spell. New Zealand 5, South Africa 0. course, Ian Smith the thrower, Neely Smith, the South African captain and halfback. Right at halfway. Smith, Oxley on his 10-yard mark. New Zealand's 10-yard mark this time. Bedford with that injured right hand with the South African touch judge, which has prevented him playing right throughout this tour. Smith, Gray, Laidlaw. Eight yards inside New Zealand's half. Northern touch. Engelbrecht again. Ellis number 6. Out 2 for New Zealand. Engelbrecht. 1 yard inside New Zealand's half. Minutes now, and the play hasn't moved out of an area of 10 yards. New Zealand's 10-yard mark to the halfway mark. Engelbrecht again. All getting all the work, and that'll be the pattern throughout the day, I think. Backs just following kicks. Little passing to Murray. Howard kicking ahead. South Africa 25. Wilson again. Back on attack. South Africa 25-yard mark. Ian Smith. Freer losing it. Laidlaw up to lead 3 yards from the goal line. Wilson in the nick of time. 6 yards from South Africa's line. Engelbrecht again. Going to be a close line out. Ray, Laidlaw, Burdick. Engelbrecht jumps straight over the goal line. Drop out. A drop out. Good save by Engelbrecht there. Jumping over his in-goal area. And South Africa to drop out. New Zealand 5, South Africa 0. Oxley again. Laidlaw. Conway, Nell number 8 at the end of the line out, Megan Conway number 4. Meads, Colin Meads. Laidlaw, Burdick, Norton. Engelbrecht knocks off. Ian Smith, Rennie, Ian Smith. Dead ball. Dead ball. And a close shave for South Africa. Ian Smith has Engelbrecht knocked on, kicking ahead, and the ball going into touch and goal.
Yes, it's very difficult out there for the fullback now. These balls are being kicked along the ground to them. It's very difficult indeed to pick up.
Charged down by McLeod, but not reaching the 25. Oxley to have another drop. Two yards outside South Africa's 25. Ellis. Touch. 3 yards inside South Africa 25. Third whistle. Lahore. Laidlaw. Good to pick it up. And a set scrap. Knock on by Laidlaw. 2 yards inside South Africa 25. 15 yards from the southern touch. Smith to Wilson. Oxley across. Standing deep in the fullback position, finding touch. 8 yards outside South Africa's 25. Third whistle. Smith. Gray. Catching Smith. South 25. On trial, outside, on trial. Only the second penalty of the match. New Zealand, the penalty penalised early on. And Sale penalised for offside. Willamette having this shot from 2 yards outside the 25 and 10 yards in from the southern touch. It's a bad patch for kicking, Ray Bell.
Yes, there's not very good footing there.
It's right in the mud on the 10-yard mark in from touch. Left of the post, Wilson, Laidlaw, on his own, Murdoch. Murdoch starting a little run there, but brought down. Dilly Smith, Laidlaw, alongside Dilly Smith, captain, Laidlaw vice captain. Splash, splash, splash they go. Through the water. Ellis to Smith. 12 yards outside South Africa, 25. North touch to number 14. Smith of New Zealand, Ethelbert of South Africa. Leads. Dewson takes Laidlaw. Playing his first test match for South Africa. Stan Meads, Laidlaw, halfway mark, Murdoch. Taken by Schoeman. Bert Whistle, through. 2 or 3 knock-ons there, and it was Bert Whistle's knock-on which the referee has played. Yards inside New Zealand's half. Smith, Oxley, Willamette. 12 yards outside New Zealand's 25 this time. On the ball. Can he get it back? Heavy going in there. 23 minutes in the first spell. New Zealand still 5, South Africa 0. Ryder Tremaine converted by William. 10 yards outside New Zealand's 25. Tight hit to South Africa. First of the match. Smith. Gainsford, taken by Murdoch. On the 10-yard mark, New Zealand. Penalty, New Zealand. Nell penalised for not releasing that ball. Willamette then from his 8 yards inside his own half. Good kick with a very heavy, slippery ball. 2 yards outside South Africa's 25, northern touch. Dewson loses the ball, Laidlaw. Murdoch, kicking for the corner. Smith, Ian Smith. Beaten again just by inches. 3 yards from South Africa's goal line. But Smith penalised for offside. Front of Murdoch when he kicked. Wilson a penalty, 2 yards from his goal line, 2 yards from the northern touch. Beautiful kick. No angle to work in. Touch midway between 25 and halfway, South Africa. Murdoch. to be an international footballer. Couldn't blame Murdoch, I think, for that. Questionable whether he's going to give the ball here with this heavy, slippery ball. New Zealand driving through, gets stopped by Ellis. South Africa's 25. Oxley running into Gainsford. Inside South Africa 25. Ian Smith on the left wing. Lockhaw. Back to Laidlaw. South Africa 25. Murdoch. Morton. Wilson. Very safe indeed. 3 yards inside South Africa's 25. New Zealand having the better of this game territorially. No breeze. Generally South Africa. When I say no breeze, it's very light. It's coming from the south and just drifting directly across the ground, so it's not favouring either side. Wilson then. South Africa's 10-yard line. Third whistle. South Africa 5 pounds a man heavier in the forwards and showing the advantage of that weight at that stage. Third whistle again. Up to halfway, leading South Africa. Reinhardt. 3 yards inside New Zealand's half. Laidlaw again, those little kicks. A awkward one. Wilson. Right on halfway. Southern touch. Third whistle again. Gray. Laidlaw. "28 minutes gone. 12 minutes till half time. New Zealand 5, South Africa 0. Third whistle again. Conway, Colin Meads, Ellis kicking deep, Willimant, caught by Gainsford, no man standing, clever tactical kicking, and Willimant just getting there. Engelbrecht throws in, Neely Smith, Oxley, Gainsford, kicking for Reinhardt. Roux losing the ball at halfway. Rangi with him. Roux again. 2 centre 3/4. Roux and Rangi. And it's a penalty to New Zealand. 2 yards inside South Africa's half. Laidlaw tap kick. 10-yard mark. Ellis, Ian Smith, Morton, and Morton just misses the corner flag into touch and go. South Africa to drop out again. New Zealand having a little bit of bad luck with some of those kicks for the corner, Ray Bell.
Yes, they're going very close, but they're just going into the dead ball.
Oxley then to drop out. Colin Meads. Nell, caught by Gray. 3 yards outside South Africa's 25. Midway between the posts and the southern touchline. Laidlaw. Blind side to Morton. over to Murdoch, I should say. And a good kick by Murdoch. Neat little kick. 6 yards from South Africa's goal line, southern touch. 11 minutes till half-time. 5 to New Zealand. 5-point lead. Hewson takes that one close. Back to Smith. Long one to Upson. Few valuable yards for South Africa. 11 or 12 yards from the goal line. Third whistle again. Needs. Ball away. Schumann. Third whistle. Great break by Tremaine there for New Zealand. Bursting through. But the ball very, very difficult to hold. New Zealand a slight break on the blind side, but little ground gain. 1 yard outside South Africa's 25. Southern touch. Third whistle again. 3/4 just chasing the ball and throwing in today. Stan Meads, Laidlaw. Into the corner. Wilson again. 8 yards from South Africa's goal line. Southern touch. 9 minutes till half-time. And New Zealand still leading South Africa 5-0. Third whistle. Nearly Smith alive. 5-yard scrum. At least the scrum is 5 yards from the goal line. Of course, the rule back that. Smith. Tight head to New Zealand. Laidlaw. Murdoch. The Korea takes him. 10 yards from South Africa's line. McLeod. Right in New Zealand. McLeod the try. New Zealand 8. South Africa 0. And a reward, Ray Bell, for McLeod, who's been playing very well up the front of the line out in the loose.
Yes, he's had 1 or 2 very good runs off the front, and he's been right into the thick of it right through. Actually, the New Zealand forwards are doing a great job there at the moment. They're all hunting together and keeping the pressure right onto the South Africans.
26 yards out from the goal line. 10 yards from the southern touch. Willerman the kicker. Water glistening there. Way to the left again. And it'll be a miracle today if any more goals are kicked, except from positions right alongside the post. 7 minutes till half-time. 8-0 to New Zealand. Oxley drops out. Colin Meads. Midway 25 and halfway. New Zealand territory this time. Brennett. Murdoch. Murdoch again. 8 yards inside South Africa's half. Murdoch very, very quick off the mark. Laidlaw. Penalty South Africa. Yes, Laidlaw this time. Last scrum penalty against the New Zealand front row. This one against the New Zealand halfback, vice captain. Wilson for the northern touch. No, it's an up and under. Winneray, taken by Ellis. Laidlaw. verdict. New Zealand back on attack. 10 yards outside South Africa 25. Some of the crowd feel that the verdict could perhaps have spun the ball, but that kick gained a lot of ground. Working that little kick back over the forward's heads as he did so effectively in the first lick. 3 yards outside South Africa 25. Lockmore, Laidlaw, tries down by Pearson. Willerman, into touch. So New Zealand's 10-yard mark this time. Time running on, 5 minutes left in this first spell. New Zealand 8, South Africa 0. Zealand's 10-yard mark. The ball always comes out, Ray, simultaneously with the referee's whistle, doesn't it?
Yes, it is that.
Laidlaw again. Inside South Africa's half. Southern touch. All stands absolutely packed. The seating accommodation in Carisbrook now 14 down. End of the line out Conway. Nell takes him. Gets his kick though. Wilson. Inside South Africa's half. And Wilson handling and kicking fortunately at the moment. Milan, McLeod, the two hookers at number 1. Gray and Fusion at number 2. Tremaine takes that for New Zealand. Drive forward, Conway. Blocked by Nell. Dupree and Ian Smith. Developing at the moment into rather a game of soccer. Dupree, beautiful. Meads, Alan Meads. Wilson in front of his posts. 5 yards outside South Africa 25. And New Zealand undoubtedly having the best of this first spell. Smith throw. Nell takes it for South Africa. Till half-time. Ian Smith. Nice kick. Both half-backs. Experience. Ian Smith having captain South Africa against the French team last year. Here's Smith, Oxley, against her, the Drew, drops the wall. Brainard. Brainard starting to fly. But a knock on the South African 10-yard line. South Africa's 25, McLeod and Tremaine come up on the mark. Wilson, very wet, very slippery, that ball. Tremaine, number 7, McLeod, number 2 on the mark. penalty, which by his watch signals half-time, and the half-time score at Carisbrook in the second test match, New Zealand 8, South Africa 0. And after a very short half-time, Mr. Murphy wisely giving them only 2 or 3 minutes, Oxley kicks off to start the second spell. Winner A. Claims a fair catch. This kick, Oxley, Rue, across his 10-yard mark. Nice kick by Rue. New Zealand's 25-yard mark. South Africa quickly onto attack, down by 8 points to 0 at half-time. South Africa playing the railway or western end of the country. Penalty New Zealand. Inside South Africa's half. Engelbrecht. McLeod. And then full cry, the forwards. The ball landing in the Tremaine. 15 yards from South Africa's line. Laidlaw, Rangi, on South Africa's 25, Tremaine, too far again, touch in goal. Tremaine playing a splendid game for New Zealand, Ray.
Yes, he's right into the thick of it. Him and the Reeds brothers, they're all really into it today.
Oxley. Ray. Laidlaw. Ground's cut up very badly round about where the lineouts take place, or 10 yards up and down the touchline. But net in the centre, that stood up remarkably well. South Africa's 25 and a defensive penalty. 6 yards in from the northern touch. Wilson. The ball waits for it. Halfway. Beautiful take. That heavy slippery ball. And a good kick by Laporte. 10 yards outside, South Africa's 25, northern touch. Reinhardt, Laidlaw, Oxley. Yards inside South Africa's half. That whistle with appears to have a clean jersey. Out in Milan. It's still Tremaine. And out of room as he came round the front of the line now. Reinhardt and thrower. Hewson, South Africa. Colin Meads again. Forwards reproducing their form of the first test in different conditions. Gray. The line out work, considering the heavy slippery ball that Ray Bell is remarkably clean.
Yes, it's been very good, except the Springboks are inclined to be knocking back.
Winner 8, Laidlaw. 1 yard outside South Africa's 25. Play mostly up and down the northern touchline. Hewson. Rather him than me down there in that mud and slush. 1 yard outside South Africa's 25. 10 yards from the northern touch. Tremaine again. Meant to kick it up to the goal line, kicked it into the touch by mistake. Hewson again. Starting to dominate up close there, number 2 in the line out. Winneray to Morton. 3 yards inside South Africa's 25, right in front of the post. McLeod again. Meads, Colin Meads. 5 yards from South Africa's line. Laidlaw, penalty to South Africa, penalty to South Africa. As the crowd looked for Laidlaw to go, Mr. Murphy was there with his 5 yards from South Africa's line. And Wilson again. Laidlaw. Too far, and might be a quick drop out for South Africa this time. Foxley. Stan Meads. Laidlaw. Murdoch. Through. Engelbrecht kicking it into touch. 8 minutes gone in the second half. New Zealand 8, South Africa 0. Laidlaw, Murdoch, Morton. Reinhardt tackled by Birtwistle. Now kicks it in the touch. South Africa's 10-yard mark. Reinhardt again. Laidlaw. 11 yards outside South Africa's 25. Northern touch. Smith, Oxley. Lovely kick by Oxley. South Africa up to halfway for the first time for a considerable period. Birtwistle throws. Winneray. Oxley. Dominating just at the moment in the close start. Morton. On the ground. Laidlaw. Birtwistle. Knocks it on. Knock on by Birtwistle. 3 yards inside South Africa's 25. Milan hooks safely. Oxley across his goal post. Knock on by New Zealand. Smith, net went 3/4. 2 yards outside South Africa's 25. To number 9, Nearly Smith, the captain of South Africa, laid on vice captain of New Zealand. Nell holds it, now to Smith, loses it, Tremaine takes him. Cullen leads, Stan leads, 5 yards from South Africa's line. Yards now from South Africa's posts, right underneath them. Huxley on the blind side. Smith, Williman. 5 yards inside South Africa's 25. Breeze has swung round towards southeasterly direction, and New Zealand have the advantage of it, as Laidlaw has some trouble with his touch. But it's New Zealand having much the better of a territorial lead of Ray Bell.
Yes, well, the forwards are keeping it very, very much New Zealand way at the moment. They're dominating the shade in the forwards and making fewer mistakes in the Springboks. The odd time they have used the backs, tactical kicks have sorely tested the Springbok defence.
Hewson takes it, loses McLeod again, over up to the goal line, McLeod. Drop out. Anything can happen in these conditions, a slithery, slippery ball and the players sliding about. Williman driving. Rue. Clever play by Rue, kicking that ball right down. New Zealand's 25. Morton diving. Rangy picks it up. Bird whistle kicks. Crowd warming to good play by the South Africans. Rue, a clever kick through, catching New Zealand a little bit unawares. New Zealand bustled. Reynard will throw. Conway diving at the end of the line out. De Preer over the goal line. Bird whistle. De Preer. Drop out again. Sudden change of fortune. New Zealand almost over. 30 seconds later, South Africa almost over. 13 minutes in the second half. New Zealand 8, South Africa 0. Engelbrecht. Halfway. Just tapped by Smith, his opposite number. Engelbrecht a long stride. Getting away there. Smith the instant. Now Nearly Smith. Halfway mark on the blind side. Engelbrecht. The instant. Bedford suitably attired to the occasion as a touch judge, wearing a turri, tracksuit. Smith. Conway. Freer back to Ellis. Ellis breaking. Under the South African posts. Ellis again. Holding it 3 yards from the goal line. Set scrum. South Africa trying to throw the ball without him on defence. A little bit dangerous, but 8 points down, they've got to take risks. Nearly Smith, 5 yards from South Africa's line. A tight head to New Zealand. Laidlaw on the blind. Drop out. All we can do is watch the referee's signals. Now, Rue again. Rue taking the replaced Oxley for the dropouts. Ray up top. Rue has taken over with the drop kicks now, Raybell.
Yes, he does seem to be taking them over.
5 yards outside South Africa's 25. 8 yards inside South Africa's half. South touch. Exactly a quarter of an hour in the second spell. New Zealand 8, South Africa 0. Stan leads. Held there. South Africa's 10 yards now. Photographers moving up and down the touchline, both sides of the ground. Stan Meads knocks somewhere about the ribs by the look of things, Trey.
Yes, he seems to have one on the side there. But, knowing Stan, I don't think it'll be long before he'll be back in the fray.
Players who step forward should be quite pleased to have this break, but I doubt
Yes.
it's on the backs.
Yes, the forwards have really been into it pretty thick the last 10, 15 minutes. The backs have only come into the play very occasionally, except the fullbacks. Both the fullbacks, Wilson and Willamont, have gone through a fair bit of work.
Everybody ready again, time on. New Zealand pushing the heavier South African back. And a paw. And Stan leads. And it's inside South Africa 25 by 3 yards. Leeds loses it, and Smith kicks back. Yards outside South Africa 25. Smith takes this penalty. A good up and under. Tremaine can't hold it. Rue, over the 25, a penalty. Rue was obstructed there as he kicked the ball through. Mr. Murphy has penalised New Zealand in definitely a kickable position. If any position is a kickable one in conditions like this.
Yes, any kick today was difficult, no matter where it is. The ball was heavy and slippery.
30 yards out. 15 yards to the left of the posts. Oxley, the kicker. Just underneath. Rangi touches down. Ball tremendously heavy. 30 yards out that, and it didn't have the distance. Willamont then drops out. Yokria. Tremaine again. Engelbrecht. Intercepted by Lahore. Winner at halfback. With the verdict. Well, lovely kick by verdict. 10 yards outside his 25. To a position 11 yards inside South Africa's half. Southern touch. And the sky is clearing again overhead for 2 minutes. And Smith throws in for the Conway. Ellis picks it up. Taken by Conway. Midway 25 and halfway, South Africa territory. And again, the whistle and the ball simultaneous. Midway 25 and halfway, South Africa's territory. And the hooks. Tremaine again, up to the goal line, but an infringement. 5 yards outside of South Africa's 25. Almost in front of the posts. 19 minutes gone in the second half. 21 to go. New Zealand 8, South Africa 0. Smith again. South Africa controlling it, kicking it through. Willem at halfway. His kicks. Inside South Africa's half. Ian Smith, Engelbrecht alongside him. One way, halfway. See whether South Africa put this penalty into the centre. Only 20 minutes left, 8 points down, and captain kicks. And it is an up and under. Winner waits. Morton. On the New Zealand 25, Schoeman, picked up by Rangi. Ian Smith. 10 yards outside New Zealand's 25. Engelbrecht to throw it. He's tapping. Laidlaw on the left. Gets New Zealand out of trouble, back to halfway. Minutes left. Time running out for South Africa. Engelbrecht. Two kicks by Laidlaw, taking play from his own 25 to 12 yards outside South Africa's 25. Priya, Smith, Huxley. Knock on. Advantage through for New Zealand. The scrum's going down a bit too quickly. Morton on the left. Still going, a little kick over the goal line. Smith and Engelbrecht drop out. Oh, we've had several thrills with the chasing the ball, the loose ball over the goal line today. And it was Smith and Engelbrecht there, and diving simultaneously. And the referee has suffered an injury. Mr. Murphy, following through there, looks as though he might have pulled a muscle. And this will be a sensation if, in a test match, the referee had to leave the field.
Yes, well, I've never heard of it myself, but I did watch him then chase the play, and then when he decided it was forced down, drop out 25, he stopped rather quickly, and I think that's when he's done the damage.
Cold, wet conditions, and so that's when these strains are likely to occur. And Mr. Murphy racing through there. Very warm applause for him. The crowd always laugh when the referee or the touch judge gets hurt or knocked over, but they're pleased to see him already again, and there's Rue dropping out. Morton speculates. 3 yards inside South Africa's 25, South touch. Corner of the new rose stand. Cameramen getting too close to the touchline. Laidlaw, Burdick on the South African 25, coming down on the goal line. Engelbrecht up in the mud, and a nice fair catch. 2 yards, 1 yard from South Africa's goal line. The crowd on the mark. ground, but a desperate situation in it. 3 yards from South Africa's line. Southern touch. Smith throws in. Paul. Laidlaw. Murdoch on his own. Rue over the 25. Morton diving on it. Tremaine. Conseil leading them. Hewson. On the 10-yard mark now, South Africa. Nice clearance by the South African forwards. 17 minutes to go. Oxley. Third whistle waits for it. Third whistle. Up to the 25. Wilson takes him. Tremaine. Third whistle again. Best individual break of the match. New Zealand right wing three-quarter. 15 yards from South Africa's line. Laidlaw. 10 yards from South Africa's goal post. And a set scrap. 16 minutes to go. Both teams have given their best in very difficult conditions. Played as good football as conditions would allow. Laidlaw putting it in. Morton. 10 yards from South Africa's goal line. Henley, South Africa. Mr. Murphy still looking a little unhappy about that. Tapped by Wilson. Smith can't pick it up. Did the only thing possible. Speculators the order of the day. 10 yards outside South Africa's 25. Tremaine again. Up halfway, Williman. Most of the play this spell has been over on that southern or grandstand touchline, which is a little bit surprising because the wind has swung round from an easterly, southeasterly direction. I think the play would be favouring this touchline. Smith to Oxley, Gainsford. Halfway in the mud. Through. He's in the 10-yard mark. Engelbrecht. Taken by McLeod at halfway. Ian Smith to halfway. Midway between 25 and halfway. 14 minutes to go. New Zealand 8. South Africa 0. No scoring in the second half. But Freer beautifully. Lost it though. Leads to Laidlaw. Wilson. 1 yard inside South Africa's 25. Ian Smith. Nearly Smith. Oxley, Gainsford, Rue. Reggie takes him. Morton. Wilson, taken 5 yards from his line. Murdoch. 5 yards from South Africa's line. Laidlaw. Ian Smith. Ian Smith finding touch. 5 yards from South Africa's goal line. On the northern touch this time. Reinhardt throwing. Hewson, McLeod dives and nearly Smith. 1 yard from South Africa's line. Laidlaw. New Zealand might try a push over here. 1 yard from South Africa's line. Laidlaw puts it in. Zealand have won it. Lahore to Laidlaw. Murdoch. Burt whistle. Taken by Oxley. In front of South Africa's posts. Anything can happen. Hewson has the ball. 10 yards from the posts. No man standing. Laidlaw. Murdoch. Rangy. And he's over! On the open side, and a nice try, Ray Bell.
Yes, it was good. The forward started the good work with a very good ruck under the goal post, won the ball out to Laidlaw, and the backs appeared to have an overlap, but Rangy elected to take a gap and ran very strongly to go over it near the corner.
And here we have Williman taking a shot at goal, and something which may be unique in the annals of Test rugby, a replacement referee. Just waiting to go on. Williman from the 25-yard mark, 5 yards from the northern touch. Beautiful kick. It's there. Remarkable kick in these conditions. New Zealand 13, South Africa 0. And Mr. Murphy still controlling the game, and Mr. D.H. Miller, who's already refereed 2 South African games, is waiting on the touchline in case he should be needed. Mr. Murphy's still there as Oxley kicks off. Gray on the New Zealand 10-yard mark. Fair catch. On the South African 10-yard mark. Through Gainsford. Williman and Laidlaw, misunderstanding on the New Zealand 25, on sale, up to 10 yards from the line, 5 yards from New Zealand's goal posts. Schumann picks it up. Brainard trying to keep it in, couldn't do so. Crowd warms to the South Africans. Down by 13 points. A do-or-die effort with 10 minutes to go. Brainard throws it. Dupree takes it. Flashing through the water. 3 yards outside New Zealand 25. North touch. Murdoch a speculator. Wilson on his 10-yard mark. And a beautiful kick. 1 yard outside New Zealand 25. Laidlaw from his 25. 10 valuable yards. Time runs out for South Africa. 9 minutes left in this match. New Zealand 13, South Africa 0. Dupree, Smith, Oxley. Stan leads. At halfway, Colin leads. And the ubiquitous triple. 2 yards inside New Zealand's half. At halfway, Smith, Oxley, Gainsford. 5 yards inside South Africa's half. Laidlaw at halfway. Rangy. Picking for Burt whistle. In touch. Flying wingers, Brainard and Burt whistle. But the ball beat them. 1 yard outside South Africa's 25. Northern touch. Smith, Oxley. 5 to halfway. 8 minutes left. 13-0 in favour of New Zealand. Neither side giving an inch there. Some magnificent forward play this afternoon. On the 10-yard mark, New Zealand. Couldn't get away with that. Brought back for a knock-on. Looks like a tight hit in New Zealand, but South Africa infringing. Midway 25 and halfway. Tap penalty by Winneray. Tremendous one. This will have snow on it coming down. New Zealand driving South Africa back. 5 yards outside their 25. Cloud number 2, Gray number 1 on the right of the front row. Here's Conway number 4 on the flank. Neely Smith, 10 yards outside South Africa's 25. Screws, Smith to Gainsford. Gainsford held by one leg. Down. Laidlaw, Soccer, and Ellis. Ellis kicking to halfway. Willimant. Slides completely out of sight. 11 yards inside South Africa's half. 5 minutes left in this second test match. New Zealand 13, South Africa 0. Reynard. Conway. Everybody playing soccer. Gainsford again. Breaking clear. Murdoch to Rangi on the halfway mark, up to the 10-yard mark. Into tackle. 5 yards inside South Africa's 25. Doesn't touch. Brett. Colin Leeds, Laidlaw, Murdoch. Willimant. Third whistle, Willimant. Wilson. And he's 25. In touch 12 yards inside South Africa's half. 4 minutes left, and New Zealand have deserved this one, Ray Bell.
Yes, I think they've really made a job of this in the forwards today. That's where the victory's been won.
Laidlaw on the blind. Very, very tired. Both sets of forwards. Back down on the 10-yard mark, South Africa. Laidlaw almost offside. Just got back in the nick of time. 12 yards inside South Africa's half. Streaming through again. Nell, Ellis on the South African 25, Oxley. Halfway, Willimant. Taken by Roo. Smith at halfway. McCaw leaves it to Willimant. 5 yards outside New Zealand 25. Southern touch. Game full of incident and lively. This crowd of 35 to 40,000. Very enthusiastic. Thundering, banging on the fence down below us. Showing their enthusiasm. And here's McLeod again. Double infringement. placement. 10 yards outside New Zealand 25. South Africa's last chance to get some points on the board. 2 minutes left. Tremaine from the flank to halfway. Yards inside New Zealand's half, midway between the posts and the southern touchline, and slip again. New Zealand front row, not down. Tight head to New Zealand. Ellis breaks, overruns it. Rangi. Ellis. Gainsford. Up to the 25. Reinhardt. Third whistle brings him down. Gainsford playing his 28th test match for South Africa, equalling Larson's record. 5 yards inside South New Zealand 25, Laidlaw putting it in. Time almost up. Laidlaw